So, very good afternoon, everybody, and we are here to discuss the characters in Gun Island, latest novel, the last novel by Amitav Ghosh. And through character, we'll try to get that what is a broad storyline. What is the broad storyline? And in our next class, that is tomorrow, we will talk about the themes and the storyline, illustrations from that, and what are the thematic concerns in this novel. Okay, so let us see this how we can try to divide these characters which are coming from a separate world in this. Okay, so put this focus. Okay, so in this novel, the novel begins with Dinanath Datta. Dinanath Datta, who is also known as Dean or Dino. Dino in Italy is known as Dino, in America as Dean, and his proper name is Dinanath Datta, and he is our protagonist. He is our protagonist here. The entire novel is narrated through his eyes, and it is his experience or exploration. His exploration of a myth that the story is unfolding. So, which myth is being explored by Dinanath? That is the myth of gun merchant. The myth of gun merchant is what is being explored by Dinanath, and that is how the story is unfolding before our eyes. So it so happens that Dinanath is visiting Kolkata. It's November-December time, winter time, and the reference comes that as migratory birds, remember whenever the word migration comes, because migration is the theme of this novel, and there are lots of different kinds of migrations that we live with, but we do not have that insight to look at the migrations as such. So when we say migratory birds, we feel that it is good that the foreign birds come and people go for bird watching and other kinds of things. So like migratory birds, the people who are in the Western world, they will come back to their homeland during winter, because winters are terrible there. Because winters are terrible, and if you are older, then the winter is more painful. Your joints, your body will ache a lot in winter, and so you come back to India in a warmer place, because health-wise it is very difficult to live in there. So you are coming here. And when the foreigners come here, as normally it happens that the other people are so happy to invite them for lunch, for dinner, for various kinds of gatherings. Sometimes some rituals are to be done, they wait for that. Some marriages to be done, the people wait for that. So for these people, life is very busy here. Whatever months they have to stay here, there is lots of busy schedule there. Dinanath is the person who is a book collector. Dinanath by profession. By profession, he is a dealer in rare books. He is dealer in rare books and Asian antiquities. Yes, is a dealer in rare books and Asian, and so obviously by profession he likes something that is old, something ancient, and is there for that. Now, for him, these things are not working well now. These things are not working well. So he is not having a very sound financial condition. Though he is living in America, Brooklyn is the place where he is living. Brooklyn is the place where he is living, and he is a dealer in rare books in Brooklyn. And ancient antiquities also, Brooklyn, then comes to India for occasional visits. But his financial condition is not very sound, very good, which also he is complaining about. And he thinks that how many years now I will have to live. Now that comes that what will be the age of Dinana? So he is somewhere around 50s, 60s is the age. Because he refers to some episodes of his life that was before 20-25 years. Before 20-25 years back when it happened. And that was the time when he applied for further research, doctoral research with an American university. And he got selected. And his proposal got selected. And so he went to America for the research. And his research was on folklore. It was on folklore, which gets connected with this story. Research topic of Dinanath Datta, which he is carrying out in America when he was much younger, in mid-20s or early 30s. I think he uses the word early 30s, so 31, 32, 33. At that time he gets that and he goes to America to do the research, and it is in folklore that he has done. Now this is a very interesting point here in where he gets connected with the folklore of gun merchant or Mansa Devi here. So when he is visiting here in India, he meets Kanai Dutt in one of the gatherings, a kind of a family gathering. He is meeting Kanai Dutt. He is cousin, little bit further cousin. Kanai Dutt is an important character in another novel, that is The Hungry Tide. So this series of characters are coming from Hungry Tide here, from the novel which was published in 2004, which we discussed in our previous class. That 2004 novel, all these characters are repeated here again in 2019. After almost 15 years, author is going back to his own other characters there. Kanai Dutt, and then he says that Kanai Dutt makes fun of Dinanath Datta. He is not taking him as something who is like you are a PhD scholar from American University, living in America. So obviously you should have a kind of a reputation that you are a scholarly person and you deal with rare books, antiquities. But that respect, Kanai Dutt is not. He rather makes fun of him. And the reason we come to know is that his research in folklore or his way of looking at folklore is very limited, or by many other people they think that he perhaps is not looking at folklore in a proper way. So what was that problem? Which we come to know later on when Dinanath is having a talk with Chinta. The full name is Gia Chinta. But this C is Italian C and it is normally Ciò. This C is normally Ciò when it is Italian word. And is having a talk at that time also this recurrently comes. So Dinanath Datta believes that most of the folklore are just fairy tale stories and they have nothing to do with reality. They have nothing to do with history, or those kind of things might have never happened. These are the stories just told to the children on. That is what he believed. Now, that is where many people had a problem. Many people believe that folklore has a kind of a history. It is a myth, but it has a history, and those things might have really happened. But the way they are told, there is some problem. The problem is in the telling of the folklore, not exactly in that might have happened or not. So that is the point of conflict, and this entire novel is exploring that, and Dinanath at the end of the story comes up to a realization that what he understood as in folklore, that it is merely a fairy tale, it is not so. It might be a historical record of somebody's journey, something that might have really happened, but with the understanding of those days, people might have understood that in a particular way. They might have understood that in a particular way, because every age has their own limitations of knowledge systems, and the way we read the things today, perhaps the people who are going to come after us may perhaps find a problem with our understanding also. For example, before I give the example from this novel, a very live example that is like today you might have seen that yesterday Novak Djokovic has been deported from Australia. He has been told to leave Australia. He has gone there to play a tennis tournament, a Grand Slam tournament. There is Australian Open, four great tournaments in the world: Australian Open, Wimbledon, French Open, and US Open. After the four great events, Australian Open is the first one, and he was champion for last two times. He was a defending champion. He is number one tennis player in the world today, Novak Djokovic. But then the government of Australia deported, means they sent him back and didn't allow him to play. Why? Because he has not taken vaccines. He has not taken anti-corona vaccine. So today worldwide the rules are there that you cannot travel in aeroplane. People do not allow you to participate in various activities and other things if you do not taken double dose. For example, for you also the rule is that if you want to participate in sports, you have to show the certificate that you have taken double dose. If you want to participate in any event, people are asking. If you want to travel, people will ask for the vaccine. Now, Novak Djokovic is anti-vaxxer. There are a group of people who are anti-vaxxer. They say that vaccinations are of no use and it is just for the benefit of pharmaceutical company. And there is no strong evidence which says that vaccinated people will not get coronavirus, which we all know now. We all are aware. We are seeing that all those people who are, when they were vaccinated first time, again they got corona. After two times also, again not many people are suffering from Omicron virus. So, well, that argument is fair. Nobody gives a guarantee that if you are vaccinated, you will not get corona. No guarantee. So anti-vaxxers are there, and vaccination is something which can never be forced upon people. In India also, recently the court case is going on, government told that we are not forcing anybody to take vaccine. It is voluntary. People come and we give them vaccine, but it is not compulsory. So taking vaccine is not compulsory, but government makes other rules. That if you want to travel in BRTS bus, show the vaccine. If you travel in aeroplane, vaccine. You want to play, vaccine. You want to do this, vaccine. Now there are people who say that, well, I am okay, you test me. I am not suffering from any virus. I will play. I don't need vaccine. Well, but Australian government said that it will be very dangerous for us. Many people will do that and it will be uncontrollable in our country. And the virus may spread if we allow Novak Djokovic to stay in Australia without vaccination. So he is deported. Now, today we don't know whether Novak is right or Australian government is right. Today we don't know. Tomorrow perhaps it will prove that he was right. That vaccines are of no use at all. And people had a choice. And if you are not suffering from that, then you should be allowed. On the same paper, if you open up today's daily newspaper, Gujarat Samachar, at the bottom there is a photograph where he is coming out of airport, he is deported, he is leaving Australia. The top headlines of the newspaper say that now Europe is opening and telling that coronavirus is normal flu. No need to wear even mask now. You take vaccine or don't take vaccine, it is up to you. No need, if you don't wear mask, no penalty. People can roam across. If you have virus, then also you can roam across. That is where the Europe and Africa is opening. They say now it is normal flu. So we don't know as of today how this coronavirus vaccinations will be considered as such in that capacity. Today we can say that, well, I stand for vaccination, as people, some may say I stand for no vaccination. You can say I stand for vaccination. Vaccination are dangerous. Then also it is better to die at the hand of science rather than other superstitions. But that also we don't know if you are right in that or not. Even that we don't know whether we are right in saying that or not. So that is how at every moment of time we think this is right, but maybe after 2 days, few months, few years, that may turn down to be wrong also. And then we unnecessarily go in defense of those things. But if we are open, we may say, well, today I think this is right. I can't openly abuse Novak Djokovic for not taking vaccine. But I may say that I have taken, he might have taken. It would be better if he has taken. So many other players are playing, they all have taken vaccines. So he might have taken. What's wrong in that? But well, it is again a personal choice. You can't thrust your judgment on anybody also. So the same way, when something comes from folklore, and if you just say it is only superstition and it is something that is completely unbelievable, then there is a problem. That was the problem with Dinanath. That he was having a sweeping judgment about this, and all those people who believe in that, they all are superstitious. And he also believed that in West, people don't believe in all those kinds of things. Now that is the limitation of Dinanath. So he is not still aware, though he lives in America and he has friends in Venice and Italy, still he is not aware that the people worldwide are similar. They all have their folk tales, which are equally superstitious in one or the other way. In one or the another way. So Kanai Dutt tells that you meet our auntie, common auntie, Nilima Bose. Said you better go. She wanted to talk with you. Well, Dinanath said, I have a flight, I have to leave, I am very busy, I don't want to go. But he says that Nilima Bose is accompanied with another American written person, like you, another American written, and that is Piali Roy. That is Piali Roy is there. She also has come from America, like a migratory bird who normally come. But Piali Roy occasionally keeps on coming to Sundarbans because she is working with Nilima Bose. Nilima Bose is running a trust to help the poor people. Why poor people needs a help? We have seen the glimpse of Sundarban people, the kind of poverty, landlessness, calamities that they require constant help from some NGOs. So that NGO is run by Nilima Bose. Is running an NGO. And Piali Roy is helping Nilima Bose in that, so occasionally keeps on coming there. Well, apart from that, we also come to know about Piali Roy. She also is a researcher. She was a researcher. Now, at this moment, when in this story, when she is introduced, she is teaching in Oregon. Piali Roy is teaching in Oregon. Oregon. Who is the teacher there? It is Piali Roy, known as Pia in this, and she is a teacher in Oregon State in America, and she was a researcher, and that research also still continues in different way, and her research is in marine biology. Is in marine biology. Piali Roy, a researcher, and this is the character coming from The Hungry Tide 2004. Then she was very young as a researcher. She visited Sundarbans, and her area of interest was study of dolphins. So a special kind of dolphins which are found in Sundarbans that she was studying. And now the entire family of dolphins, she is keeping an eye on them. They all are now even having a GPS tag and other things. So if anything goes wrong with the dolphins, they will quickly get a message also on their mobile phone. So now the latest technology is used to even keep check on the dolphins and other kinds of things. If they migrate and they move on, they come to know that they are out of range or some kind of threat is seen to dolphins. We come to know about a very interesting behavioral pattern of dolphins. Dolphins, as you all know, that they are very friendly fish. And people have like a circus show also of dolphin, water and the dance. And dolphins are beautiful looking fish and beautiful this somersault they do in the air. And to watch dolphins dancing in the water is a beautiful thing, and people do make shows of those kinds of things also. They are very understanding of human behavior also, and they dance in sync with human beings. Dolphins can dance in sync. It means we can teach them how to dance with human beings, which obviously is very difficult for human beings also. ઘણા લોકો મારા જેવા હશે કે જેને દાંડિયા રાસ પણ ના આવડતા પણ ડોલ્ફિનને તમે શીખવાડી શકો. So that is the learning capacities of dolphins that is there. They dance with human beings also. So dolphins are very interesting those creatures, and they live in a family together there, and they become very friendly with the people who take care and other things. They have a very emotional way of expressing themselves also. So dolphins are studied here. Even now also, even after that research, P.R.E. Roy continues that observation of dolphins. When dolphins find a terrible threat to their life, they collectively come at the shore and commit suicide. So that is known as beaching. Beaching. They call it beaching of dolphins. It means that they find that when life is terrible to live, collectively they will come and commit suicide. So once in our story also that beaching happens. And that happens because of the refinery that is coming up in that area, Sundarban area. And because of the pollution of Sundarban, the water is getting polluted and these dolphins are finding it difficult to live. And so they collectively, more than a dozen of dolphins, they move on to the sea coast and they commit suicide as a beaching. It is known as that's a very surprising sight to see that so many dolphins on the shore, all dead. Nobody has killed them, but they come and they die. So very interesting behavioral patterns of animals that also we come to know from this novel here. Now very surprising. Now our Dinanath is an old fellow. Our Dinanath is a very old fellow, and he don't want to go to Nilima Bose, Kanai told, but then when it is told that there is P.R.E. Roy and she is an interesting woman in inverted comma, then Dinanath says that let me go. So like when initially Dinanath is introduced, he is an old single fellow and still looking for some partner. For old age and other kinds of things. Now that becomes something attraction for him to go to Nilima. Now this is where many critics have questioned that, Dinanath, if he is a PhD in American University, a dealer in a rare book in antiquities, it means you might have a kind of a higher intelligence. And you make your character just crave for such a kind of a thing. Is unbelievable. It is unbelievable that this character might be attracted at an old age to go to Nilima because there is somebody known as P.R.E. Roy also. But then he goes there. And then here Nilima Bose tells him a story. The story of gun merchant. The shrine of a gun merchant. This story is told to him. And says there is a shrine in the name of gun merchant who is known as Bonduki Sadgar. Bonduki Sadgar. Bonduki, Bengali word, Banduk, gun, Sadgar is Sodagar is merchant. And that I got, now see this is very interesting here that how do we come to know about some stories? How do we? Who told us that? So that also Amitav Ghosh is very much interested as a cultural historian. He is much interested in seeing this also, that how the stories are generated and how stories pass from one generation to another generation, from one people to another people. If it is oral, it is very doubtful. If it is oral, if it is based on memory, it is very doubtful. Postmodernist way of looking at memory, as Julian Barnes in the last novel, we will see that when something comes from the memory, it is highly doubtful narration of anything. Now that way, if something is recorded as a history, then it is highly problematic also. This. So that is the important point. Nilima Bose tells the story that in Sundarban there is one shrine and says that once when there was a cyclone in 1970 and this cyclone, the name of this cyclone was Cyclone Bola. Bola cyclone around 1970s. now says that in those days we were not giving names to the cyclone the way we give names nowadays. But later on, this name was given to the cyclone. It was one of the worst cyclones that Sundarbans has, Calcutta region has experienced so far. And lots of havoc happened because of this cyclone. Now, there is a very, very interesting way of stress on natural calamities in this novel, and which seems to be not a part of a story. And so sometimes when we read this novel, we try to skip the part of cyclones or calamities. But then we realize that climate change is something very, very important for Amitav Ghosh. And he is not unnecessarily talking about cyclones. He's talking about cyclones because that is his thematic concern to look at the world or as a purpose of telling a story. So he is looking into that aspect that why we don't tell stories where calamities play a very important role. Why only about people? Why not about calamities? So the question that he asked in The Great Derangement, which we discussed in our previous introductory class, that he questioned in that why our novelists are not occupying themselves with something that is so immediate, so surrounding us, so happening around us, which seems to be so uncanny, so unreliable, so mystical, as a kind of a magic or mysticism that these things are happening. So, for example, recently you might have seen some videos or photographs that near Islamabad there is a hill station, Muri is the name of a hill station, and there so many people, around dozen or more than dozen people, were found dead in their cars. They were sleeping in the car, and there was a heavy snowfall, and all the body got frozen. Within their car itself, they all died with the family, the entire families in the car. Now, this is very surprising that people might die in this way. You go on a hill station, you are in your car, you think you are safe in your car, a sudden snowfall, the roads are blocked, and snowfall is so heavy, and the temperature dips down so heavily that you freeze and die. Just holding the hands of your family member in a car, you all die together. It looks like a Bollywood film. But this has really happened just last week only in Islam. This happened. So the way people, and there was one video from another place where there was a huge mountain cliff and it fell over two boats. And more than dozen people died in that video. So they were also surprising. There is a mountain there, people are watching, it's a beautiful scene. And suddenly a part of a mountain is coming down and two boats are capsized in such a way that nobody is remaining alive. So this all seems to be like what we are watching a film, not a reality. But last time we have seen many videos of Himachal Pradesh, Himalaya, where how the mountains are crumbling down and people are dying. So this is so immediate. This is happening around us in such a way that is surprising. As if somebody is doing all these things. Some kind of Mansa Devi or some lady from the heaven is perhaps playing all this thing with us. And so such kind of deaths are happening. And yet why our novelists are not talking about this? Why our novelists are not... So climate is an important part for Amitav Ghosh. So he speaks about Bhola cyclone and says, Nilima says that when we visited this region, everything was devastated. But for one village, only one village was intact. Like there was no harm. So we asked that why this village is not damaged. And then the people said it is because of the shrine of Mansa Devi. Because of the shrine of Mansa Devi. That we have the Ashirwad of Mansa Devi. And then they were interested, what is this Mansa Devi? Well, the people who are interested in all these things, they would love to go into the story. And it is always a good habit when we travel across small villages, small places, and if there is some kind of sthanak, dam, shrine, then we should ask what is the story? How come this shrine came up? Whatever is the story, આજે જે કોઈ પણ વાર્તા છે નોંધી લઈએ, લખી લઈએ. કદાચ એ વાર્તા જે રીતે લોકો યાદ રાખી છે ખોટી હશે, કોઈ ગડબડ હશે, કંઈક સાચું હશે, ખોટું હશે, બધું ભેગું થયેલું હોય છે. Always there is a mixture of fact and fiction around those things. But one should be interested in that. One should be taking record or not keeping of those things, which is very important. So it moves on further, and someday we come to know about the truth of we get some new tools, we get some techniques to identify those things, and some truths we come to know which is helpful to us in today's time or in future also. That is where the interest is very important. So Nilima is asking, is going with Horen Naskar is a boatman. Horen Naskar is a boatman. And along with that, when they are going, Moina also is there with them. Moina is a nurse. Yes, Moina is the nurse, and she is the wife of Fakir. Yes, Moina is the wife of Fakir. Fakir is already dead. Fakir is dead in 2004 in Hungary, died in that novel. Yes, this. And Fakir and Moina, they had a son that is Tipu. Tutul or Tipu, his earlier name was Tutul. Yes, Tutul and this. So Fakir as a boatman, his wife, educated one, a nurse, Moina. So this was a very interesting pair of characters in Hungary time to study. And Fakir was helping Piali Roy in the research in marine biology. She was helping, and there was once an accident, and Fakir died in that. And because of that, Piali Roy thought that I have a responsibility to take care of this family. This obviously is a Dalit family. It's a Dalit family. This Moina, Fakir, Tipu is a Dalit family. So Piali Roy has that sense of responsibility that this person was helping me in my research, so I should help. And so when Tipu is a little boy, he takes Tipu to America for study and other things. Earlier also, Piali Roy used to send all those technological games, playstations and everything for Tipu here in India also. But when he grew a little bit, then he was taken for study in America. He studied there for a few years, but got into a bad company, bad boys there in America. And so it was not good for Tipu, so he was sent back again. Yeah, but he is very much Americanized. He lived in America for quite some time. So his way of talking, his language is Americanized. His way of dealing with everybody is very much American. With that tone of insult, એમાં પેલો તુકારો તુચકાર વધુ આવે એ પ્રકારના ટોનથી ટીપુ વાત કરે, but he's Americanized. So sometimes we find that somebody in Sundarban, Tipu is speaking an American English, American accent, because of which he has got a chance to get a job in call center also. But this is the Tipu and Piali Roy. But today also Piali Roy takes care of this family there. Moina is there with Nilima goes, Horen Naskar, they go and they ask the people there. And then they come to know that there is a Muslim boatman, old Muslim boatman was taking care of this shrine. So from this old Muslim boatman, Horen Naskar and other people had heard the story of this shrine. There were. And Muslim boatman told that he was a little boy, and as a little boy he came from Bangladesh, and he was working for one family which was taking care of this shrine. And there was Hindu Gayan, this were known as, there were Hindu Gayans. This was the family. Gayans means the people who sing song and everything. So these people, they were the original caretaker of the shrine. And this Muslim boy who came from Bangladesh, he stayed with them. And when in one of the calamities, when this family died, this Hindus died, this boy was the only boy who was there to take care of the Mansa Devi shrine. So now that Muslim boy has become an old fellow, but he is taking care of this. And his grandson is Rafi. His grandson is Rafi. And Rafi also is just staying around this shrine, living there. And he also knows a bit of the stories. So from so many different people, a bit of a story is known to Nilima Bose. From Some part of the story from one person, another part from another person, third part from the third person, and we remember the things the way the part of the story which we found important for us or interesting for us. એ ભાગ વાર્તાનો આપણે આપણી માટે યાદ રાખીએ, બીજાને બીજો ભાગ મહત્વ એ યાદ રાખે અને આખી વાર્તા તૂટી ફૂટી જતી હોય છે. That gets broken in different way also. So this story we have read earlier. Yesterday in the last class we read that story. That what is the story? Very briefly to see that there was the story was very similar to the story of Chand Sadgar or Chand Sodagar. Very similar to the story of Chand Sodagar, who is another merchant. And our writer reminds us that there are so many stories in Bengal about merchants, which is quite curious to know, because from the western part of India there is Gujarat and that part which was open to the world. There were so many merchants. People were going out and coming there. But in that remote part of Sundarbans, in the Bay of Bengal, having merchants and the stories of merchants is surprising. But merchants were there also. People were going out in their boat and doing various kinds of business from there. So Chand Sodagar's story also was there, and briefly we come to know that Chand Sodagar also had the same kind of abhishap of some goddess of poisonous things like Mansa Devi. And it was said that you have to worship, otherwise God will, that poisonous snake will take revenge. And it so happened that when his son Chand Sodagar's son Lakhinder got married, it got a snake bite on the very first night of the marriage or early days of the marriage, got a snake bite. And then the wife of Lakhinder, her newlywed wife, it is Behula, the newlywed wife of Lakhinder, he fought with Yamraj, with that goddess, with the snake, and brought the Atma of the husband back. And Lakhinder became alive. And that is how the problem between Mansa Devi or the goddess and Chand Sodagar was resolved by the Bahu, Behula. That is the story of Chand Sodagar there. Well, you will see that this kind of stories are very much in our language also. In Saurashtra region, our language also, there are many such stories about the revenge of the snake and other things are there. So that story, and then with that gun merchant story that comes there, and it comes to know that the gun merchant and Mansa Devi told him to become a devotee, but he was not ready to be the devotee. So calamities come, and he thinks that these are all sent by Mansa Devi. He leaves that place and he says, I will go at such a place where there is no reaching of Mansa Devi. Mansa Devi cannot see, cannot find me. So moves towards the other place, which are various kinds of islands, and one of those islands is Gun Island. He goes towards Gun Island. He thinks that here it won't be possible for Mansa Devi to reach here, and he reaches to Gun Island there. But there also some kind of poisonous insect bite him, and then he tries to run away from that place also. And when he was running away, he was captured by pirates. He was tortured by pirates. And then again Mansa Devi came and he told that still there is a time, if you become my devotee, I will save you, I will give you richness. And then he ultimately becomes devotee, and he promises that if I will reach my home safely, then I will make a shrine in your name. Mannat is there, and that is how when the gun merchant came reach to Sundarbans back again, he constructed the shrine, which is a shrine made in the architectural design of Vishnupur temple or Vishnupur style of architecture. Vishnupur style of architecture, which was a mixture of Hindu and Mughal architectural designs. In that design, this shrine is made, which has some symbols on the sign on this shrine, and there are this kind of symbols there. There is this symbol here. It seems to be like a snake, and then there is this thing. It seems like a gun. And there is a gun and a snake. The first symbol here, a snake and a kind of a gun. So it seems like this conflict between the gun merchant and the Devi of snakes, Mansa Devi. Second one are two circles, which was very curious to know what is this circle. So people say that it might be the Gun Island where he might have hide himself. And the third one is this two circles and cross lines. There are 8 cross lines there in this structures there. So when this story is told to Dinanath about all this thing, he said that okay, it's a fine story, and then Nilima said, why don't you visit that? It will take only one day, you will come back by evening. Why don't you visit this shrine? But he said, I'm not interested. He is not at all like, also not interested in this story also. He said, this is a fairy tale story, and what will I do by visiting this shrine? There he said, I'm not interested in going. He comes back to his home there. Now at that night, again there is a kind of a chance happening. There are lots of chance happening in this novel, which is very surprising. Which obviously, if you look from the Western parameter, it is a very poor plot construction. But if you think in terms of magic realism, which we have celebrated in post-coloniality, Salman Rushdie and many such writers we have celebrated. So as a part of that, you pardon Amitav Ghosh as a part of magic realism. That this kind of things also happen. Chances happenings also kind of thing that happens there. So you don't go by the canon of West to judge on your art. Your art, your life is full of magic, and that itself is so realistic in this life that you have to allow that as a part of narration. So while he is sitting there and he has a separate American mobile phone also, and it is normally switched off when he comes to India. But then just occasionally he switched on the mobile phone, the American mobile phone. He just switched on. And then some notifications came, several messages and missed call and the kind of thing. And suddenly there is a call from with a code of Italy. The code from Italy, and the international phone, he got a call in America. Now see, if he is not switching on the mobile phone, there is no call. You don't talk with it. So you just occasionally switch on the mobile phone. And then the call came from Italy. He left, and then that call was from Chinta. Dear Chinta. So Chinta's call was there. And she was slightly worried, and she told that, well, I suddenly remembered you, and said, I'm on airport, I'm going to Heidelberg to read a paper in a seminar. She is a historian. Chinta CO1 is historian. Is historian and is going to read a paper in a Heidelberg conference. And I'm on airport here, and the waitress they're coming to bring, and I just had a nap. Sitting on the airport, I just had a nap, and I had a dream. I dream of once I visited Kolkata, and I remember you. That we were together 20 years back, and I remember that suddenly I was surprised that why I got that dream in that brief. So I thought of talking with you. So these are all intuitions, pure intuitions that are there. And Chinta's character is like that she believes in all these kinds of magic realism. She is a believer. Dinanath is not a believer. Is not a believer about all these kinds of things. Whereas Chinta, who is in Italy, Venice, historian, is a believer into all those things. That this kind of things may happen. So she do not have a problem with that story of plague, that little girl having a statue of Madonna, and then the church is made on that. So she thinks that this is real, this kind of things may happen in reality also. Maybe because of Madonna only, that her home was without plague. We don't know, that is how. So Chinta was a believer into all those kinds of things. Maybe here Amitav Ghosh wants to tell us that to believe that only the Indians or Easterners are believers and the Westerners are not believers. So by becoming a non-believer, I will be like a Westerner, then that is something problematic. It is not so. So that is again a post-colonial argument where it puts there. But as we know, when we discuss post-coloniality, we have seen that all those things are reality, and it is to believe that the Westerners are non-believers is a wrong conception. People everywhere, they have their own belief systems, and however educated they still remain believers in several kinds of things. That is found everywhere in the world. So time and again we have to tell that if you think in the line of being a non-believer or a kind of atheism on which Dinanath is walking, you don't have to go to the West for the examples. You have your own examples in Charak or in Gautam Buddha and many other such philosophers in India itself. And that is what we have discussed many times, that no, it is not to go back to that, but you are just talking about Gautam Buddha. And you are talking about that ideas about Buddha or Charak rather than taking idea from this. This perhaps Dinanath also might have done. Amitav Ghosh might be aware about those things, but well, as you tell a narration in a particular way, you also hide several things also. You don't talk about all those things in different ways. But these are some of the loopholes which we can use to deconstruct the narration. For deconstruction of the narration, this all kinds of points can be used in this character. So she suddenly makes a call and remembers a day. He says, remember in Chauringi, I was there and we visited, and there were a group of people, they were watching some kind of show that was going on, and a kind of a thing. He says that I don't know what was the show, it is 20 years back now. I don't remember what was there, but suddenly I got that dream. So I told you, and now, well, that was, then there was a little bit of talk, and the phone is over, and now Dinanath starts thinking about Chinta. And says that, well, how they came in contact is when 20-25 years back when he was in America doing his PhD work. She also came from Italy to America for her research work. And surprisingly, they were together in the same university, and in the library they used to meet together, and that was the point that they came to know each other. And there he told her that you come to Kolkata, Sundarbans for a visit, and she told that, well, she is a historian and she is looking for a research in the Silk Route. Silk Route, this was connecting China and the Europe. And Venice and India is an important stations in Silk Route. So I want to visit Kolkata for that also. So that way she came back to Kolkata and she stayed there. They both went out for a couple of days in Kolkata in the free time. And then I suddenly remembered that yes, we went somewhere in one evening. But what was that point? Where we went? What was that came in the dream of Chinta? That she had to call me. That we went, but what was that? He was not able to recall because it was 20 years back. And then suddenly he remembered that I had a habit of taking notes of everything. And let me open my 20 years back old library, the diary. And then he opens the bag and he finds the diary. And then he's referring to that date, that month, that date. And he reaches that point and he says that, then he's reading something. And then he finds that then there was a group of people in a tent. They were watching something. And Chinta told that, let me go and see. And then I told that, then these are all poor folk. ગરીબ લોકો છે કે તમાશો જોતા હશે એમાં શું જોવાનું હોય બધું ચિંતા કે ના ચલો જોવા જાય and then we went there and there the show was going on and in that show there was this kind of an akhyan or something of Mansa Devi was going on. There was one character there with snake on the body and then there was nothing but Mansa Devi. So diary માં નોંધ કરેલી હતી Mansa Devi and that is coming there. So now the way it was happening with gun merchant કે વારે તહેવારે અલગ અલગ જગ્યાએ કોઈ ને કોઈ રીતે મનસા દેવી પ્રગટ થયા જ કરે એવું હવે દીનાનાથના જીવનમાં થવા જે મિથની ના પાડે છે એ મિથ એના જીવનમાં started playing a role and suddenly the diary note said that was some kind of a show around Mansa Devi that was going on. So how Chinta got that sense, some intuition and made a call and he opened the diary and found that. Now that became something that let me go and see the shrine. આ થયું એટલે એને એમ થયું કે ચલો shrine જોવા જાઓ અને બીજા દિવસે સવારે એમણે તરત પિયાને ફોન કર્યો નીલિમા I want to see the shrine and he is going. Now see this chance happening. If he is not putting on the mobile phone, there is no call, there is no opening the diary, no reference of Mansa Devi. 20 years back, it's already forgotten. No way of going to watch a shrine. But then he is going now. He is getting ready and next day he goes to watch a shrine with Horen Naskar and other people there. In between, in the same story, there is this another story of Durga also coming there. So Chinta when he is talking there and then when they are in America, they talk and they say that why are you worried? What is the point of worry? You are not in the best of your mood. Is there a girl problem? And then Dinanath said yes. He was very young then, early 30s, and said that he was in love with Durga, who was a college mate there. But Durga was a Maoist, like our Revati of the utmost happiness. Revati, she was very much interested in the Marxist movement and those things, and then she was once encountered and killed. The very young days, and Durga was encountered by police and killed. And during that time, all her friends were under investigation by police. But Dinanath, one of the uncles, was in police, so he was little bit safeguarded, and he got a chance to come to America. And he left all those things and came to America from there. So that is brief story of Durga. Well, but what we see here, that the way Arundhati Roy is sympathizing with the Maoist, Amitav Ghosh is not sympathizing. He rather makes a point against the Marxist. He makes a point against the Marxist. His character, that is Dinanath, is under the influence of Marxist idea, the way we come to know. Love with Durga, symbolically love with Marxist ideology also. But then that Marxist ideology is not allowing him to be a believer also, or to believe into the stories of shrines or folklore and other things also, which Amitav Ghosh obviously is not as such in there. Amitav Ghosh is anti-right-wing people, is anti-right-wing, but is not pro-left also. Arundhati Roy is anti-right but very much pro-left. But Amitav Ghosh is not pro-left, even though he is anti-right-wing politics or the ideology of the political parties also. When he is going to see there at that place, then he is investigating the thing and he minutely observes all these things. It is here that he gets in contact with Tipu also, and not many things about Tipu he learns. Tipu is very good in technology, is very much Americanized Indian person there, but is not having good habits of dealing with people. Even with old people, he deals in insulting manner and the kind of thing that is there. So now when he is observing this shrine, then he studied these symbols. Dinanath is observing, studying the symbol, and he says, and then suddenly Rafi comes there. Rafi comes there. And he wants to know the missing point in the story from Rafi. That what happened, where he went, this island, that island, from there where the gun merchant went. That all he is trying to get, but Rafi also is not aware about that story. He tries to explain some couple of these things, but not still getting to the mark. Ultimately, Dinanath says that if this is Mansa Devi, who is the Devi of snakes and poisonous creatures, then, according to the myth and the legend, there must be a snake, a cobra snake here. કે જે આપણે માનીએ છીએ કે હંમેશા આવી સ્થાનક હોય ત્યાં કોબ્રા સ્નેક તો હોય, શિવનું મંદિર હોય, શિવલિંગ હોય, અથવા કોઈ આવી જગ્યા હોય ત્યાં કોબ્રા સ્નેક ની વગર તો હોય જ. તો it must be there. And then Rafi is suddenly surprised, startled to see that, and then says that cobra is very much behind you. તમારા બરાબર પાછળ જ મોટો કોબ્રા ફેર માંડીને બેઠો છે. And then when right time he is watching, he is running away, cobra is running away inside, and they go to see the things. By that time Tipu also comes there. Tipu, Rafi and Dinanath, they are there around the shrine and they are looking for the thing, and they are talking and Dinanath is trying to investigate a couple of things about the shrine. And suddenly the cobra jumps and bites Tipu. Tipu is bitten, stung by the cobra, and then he starts failing. Rafi very quickly makes a sharp cut, maybe at the elbow, he gets a stump and makes a sharp cut, tries to remove the poison, starts sucking the poison. He also gets a little bit of poison. But even at the cost of his life, Rafi tries to save Tipu. But Tipu starts swooning and he gets as if he is possessed by some Atma. એના જેલનો એટલો નશો ચડી જાય છે કે જાણે એની અંદર કોઈ કોબરાના સ્ટિંગની સાથે કોઈ આત્મા પ્રવેશી ગયો અંદર, અને એ પ્રકારે એની આંખો ઊંચી ચડી ગઈ અને બકવાસ શરૂ કરી દીધો, and then started speaking something. And then suddenly he said that, well, Rani is in danger. Rani is in danger. Tell Priya that Rani is in danger. આવું કઈ કે બોલ. People don't know what is this Rani, which Rani. હવે શ્રાઇનની વાર્તાઓ એટલે રાજા રાણી ભેગા આવે છે એમાં, એટલે હવે કોઈ રાણી જોડાયા છે મનસા દેવી સાથે, with the story of king or a queen and something, that suddenly emerges and then it goes there. But as the story moves on, we come to know that Rani is the name of the dolphin. Yes, the dolphin, they were given the names, and he has given the name of a dolphin. And then they come to know that that dolphin has passed away also. So they realize that, well, Tipu somehow got that sense. તો અંતર્યામી કે કોઈ અંદરનો મેસેજ આવ્યો હોય અને એના દ્વારા ખબર પડી કે આ ડોલ્ફિન ખતરામાં છે. And then that message he wanted to convey to Pia as quickly as possible. There. But then now see everything becomes mystical. એમ લાગે કે આ તો બધું કેવું છે કે અગોચરની દુનિયામાં આપણે પ્રવેશી ગયા કે આવા બધા આત્મા પ્રવેશી ગયો એવું લાગે સર્પના ડંસથી and this happened and અચાનક ક્યાંક જુદી જગ્યાએ ડોલ્ફિન હતી and that he is realizing about that. So what is this? And then when we meet Pia is a very rational and scientific a person with a scientific temperament, completely rational. She also do not believe in all these things. She allows people to have their ideas, but she has her scientific explanation of everything. Everything that happens, she has her logic, a scientific logic, a rational logic to read. And then she told to Dinanath that, well, not it to surprise that we have a GPS system and we have an application, so in mobile we get a notification. If anywhere a dolphin is in danger, then so Tipu might have got a notification early that day and he was swooning, so he might have thought that before I die or faint, let the message be conveyed to Pia. So it must be like this only, it won't be possession of some Atma, and so he is getting a sense of some kind of calamity, foreboding of the calamity. કોઈ ખરાબ થવાનું છે એના પહેલેથી અંદેશો થઈ જવો તેનાથી ખબર પડી જવી. It is not like that, but he might have come to know that. So Pia time and again, every time Pia comes and gives a scientific explanation of everything that seems to be mystical and magical. Everything that seems. Dinanath is in between. Dinanath is in between. To believe or not to believe. And sometimes is ready to believe in those things. Why? Because there is Chinta who is completely believer. So if you put these three important characters, then you say Chinta is a believer of all those things. Dinanath is in between whether to believe in this mystical and magical things or not. And Piyali is the one who gives scientific, rational explanation of all the things that is mystical and magical. So that way these three characters are used in this narrative there. Okay, so that is that part. It comes to know about this. Some of the things needs to be read. What are the meanings of this symbol in the shrine? And there is this. And Dinanath is still not completely believing in that, and he returns back to Brooklyn. He comes back to Brooklyn there. Well, let us take a small break here in the story. Before we move into the other part of the story. So in the second part, we will see now again after this what happens into this narrative.